Want to help support the show? Become a patron. Visit seasonofthewitchcast.com. Sign up to receive discount codes and a free ebook from onlinewiccansupplies.com.
This podcast is sponsored by The Crazy Cast and Human Wire Productions at human-wire.com.
And the Gypsy Haven, Elgin's only witch shop at www.thegypsyhaven.com and onlinewiccansupplies.com.
Two witches
You mean like witchcraft?
sharing their opinions and beliefs about the practice and theory of magic.
Must be the season of the witch. Must be the season of the witch, yeah. Must be the season of the witch.
Hi guys, this is Feather.
And LeFay,
Welcome back to Season of the Witch.
we have a special.
Yay! We were here a week ago, but we're back because Lughnasadh is right around the corner, and we had to get this out to you before it actually came.
Give you guys a chance to
plan for it.
There's a lot to go over, and it's a fun holiday, and we definitely want to make sure that we always give you guys some prep time.
Yes, Lughnasadh, Lammas, whatever you want to call it, August 1st. It's a major Sabbath for we pagans. So if you don't know anything about it, get out your pencils and your papers and take some notes so that you can build an altar or do whatever the hell you want to do.
For sure.
So but you got anything Booyah. You got anything you want to talk about before we get into one of my favorite holidays?
Realistically, not so much for focus on anything outside of that. I really like keeping these as super focused.
I was just saying, how was your day, dear?
My day was awesome. I am reading a new fun book, so that's nice and interesting. The Golden Compass series. So anyone that wants a interesting fantasy book again, that's my new suggestion. That's about it.
Very good. I wish I had time to read.
All right.
right.
I sit at work and listen to audiobooks.
Oh,
so
see,
it's data entry constantly, and I can sit there and listen to all sorts of stories. It's nice.
Oh, you're such a fire girl. You can juggle 14 things at once.
I got to keep myself entertained, otherwise I will get very, very bored very quickly.
All right, Lughnasadh. Yay! Shall we start with some of the older traditions?
Yes.
How did this Sabbath form, kind of thing?
Well, funny enough, so the big one that most people relate it to is the Celtic version of Lughnasadh, Lammas. It's also known by Garland Sunday, Bilberry Sunday, Mountain Sunday, Reek Sunday.
Ice cream Sunday.
Ice cream. Mm-hmm. It kind of can either come off of Lammas Day, which is the Anglo-Saxon Hlaf Mass or Loaf Mass. So
Loaf-mass bread.
Yes, very focused around the bread, and that's going to be a repeating theme in this.
Oh yeah.
But the one that primarily a lot of pagan traditions will focus on is more of the Celtic tradition, which makes this one of the major 4 fire festivals. Mm-hmm. So the Anachs in Ireland, they were the big traditional one, and was the fair of the. Do you know how to pronounce the mother, the stepmother?
No, the foster mother.
Foster mother. Thank you.
Foster mother. Yeah, Talchia. Yeah, because I'm going to be talking a lot about her this evening.
Thank you. So to honor her. And so that was one. It was a lot of people say that this holiday predates, and so it predates the Olympics. And so one of the big things that they would do is hold festivals and games and anything that would really be focused on sports and activity.
They were actually called funeral games.
Yes.
To celebrate the sun god Lu, who wanted these funeral games for his foster mother.
And we'll go into a huge, he's got his own subsection. And so
he's my baby.
Starting off with that, I'm going to leave the rest of that to you in a little bit. But going on to some other ones, we've got the Christians who would hold they would bring the first loaves of bread to the church and have that blessed. And that would be the first blessing of the year, basically. So it's this repeating theme of, at this time, they are harvesting their first grains. And so that's going to be the first bread that they make of the season. And that's going to be a big deal in bringing future benefits to their crops and everything else. And then you've got Vulcanalia, which is in ancient Rome, that originally started around August 23rd, and that was the celebration of Vulcan or Vulcanus.
Vulcans. Okay, sorry.
And he was the god of fire and volcanoes. Okay. Pretty obviously. But he was, basically they were trying to appease the fire and volcanic gods and keep them from, exploding. So there's kind of a problem with that.
Please don't melt my home. Okay.
And then another one I've got is the Bavarian tradition of the Ascension of Mary. So I like this one because the Bavarians, the Germans, around the 15th of August, they would basically gather up all 77 different herbs. And then they would carry it along in wooden sticks, and then these herbs would be consecrated, and these were used for ritual incense. So they would make this huge consecration of these herbs for the Ascension of Mary. And even though this was a Christian tradition, it definitely was, they would use those herbs in special incenses and when they were cooking for certain things. So that was their apothecary that they would make every year, make sure that they had everything prepped.
Herbs.
So even the Bavarians, the Germans, during their Christian after the pagans, they were still doing a lot of witchy things. So it was fun.
One of the interesting things too is that when we spoke about Letha, even some of the traditions of it involved, because when we're talking about the wheel of the year, we're talking about agriculture and the shifts of the seasons and stuff. Well, through Letha, we had mentioned that one of the traditions was walking the livestock between two big bonfires for purification
the
and cleansing.
Fires.
Right. In comparison to Lughnasadh, it's instead of the fire, they actually walk them through water.
Oh, nice.
For purification, blessing, gratitude for the livestock, as to what was already had, what they had survived, and the winter months about to happen too. So you're gonna see even a lot of all the similarities from the new ways to the old ways. I mean, the old ways rock because they basically laid the foundation as to a lot of things that we still practice today.
That's, I think, one of the biggest reasons why I like history so much is I can find those connections and ties from the old to new ways, and then that feels like a little more legitimacy comes to it just because I can feel that connection. Another one that was kind of fun is this repeating theme of revival. So outside of what we'll go into with Lou, there's also the story of John Barleycorn.
I've heard that name before.
Yeah, so he became an American Irish folklore for the whiskey. But the idea is the green man who got turned into John Barleycorn represented the spirit of the grain. And so they would harvest him and he would be sacrificed and then be reborn as the spirit of the whiskey.
And that's how Jack Daniels was born.
Pretty much. I mean, they have a lot. It has a lot to do with, going through sacrifice, transformation, death, and rebirth. So it's a big repeating theme.
These are all keywords to this Sabbath. Everything that you're saying right there, it's... okay, anyway, not trying to jump the gun.
No, we had a lot of... It's going to be... A lot of different cultures like to use this time. And I mean, when you look at the agriculture, this is when the first crops are being harvested. And so...
Right.
We're really starting to appreciate the fruits of our labor. It's not quite the winter, but we're starting to really be aware of it.
Yeah, Lughnasadh tends to be pretty bittersweet for me just because I like the hotter months. And Lou, of course, we're getting back to the Celtic roots here, being
winter is coming.
Celtic, the, king of the gods and stuff. He is the sun god, and he's dying. He's dying, and I'm going to miss him when he's completely gone, which is Samhain. He's pretty much dead. But at the same time, the goddess is also impregnated with the new sun god. So Lou is dying. So it's kind of funny because it's such an amazing holiday, and when everybody's off running and rejoicing and stuff, I'm kind of choking back tears a little bit. I'm like, oh, I try not to think too hard into the story because I do start to cry, and I'm like, which is kind of strange for me because I don't tend to get into the whole human mythological deity stuff. But for this one, this is kind of a big one for me.
Well, I think it fits so naturally with what we're dealing with, the seasons. I mean, like, it's such a direct correlation, and we are aware of it. And I think I can definitely see how that would fit more internally than some of the other stories that are a little more fantastic.
Yeah.
This one is a constant reminder of something that we're quite in tune with the season.
Right. And
So I will give you that. It's less human than other humanistic stories. I mean, like the reminders and the things that we're focusing on.
right. All right. Well, before we get into like Lu and Talchaya or Talchia, I fuck up her name and I feel like a piece of crap for Talchia. Yeah, Lu's foster mom. I want to get into some other keywords and stuff as to what this Sabbath represents, or some
Themes or
and,
I've also
and that
got
kind of
deities.
stuff. Oh yeah, I've got a bunch of stuff too. I just didn't really know where he wanted to start.
Yeah,
but
I mean, there is that sense of mourning that we're going to be going through. It's not nearly the same. I mean, like, Samhain is kind of like a New Year's / morning vibe. There's a little bit of mix of both, but this one definitely has that vibe.
Yeah, this is the beginning of, I mean, it's definitely the recognition of the necessity of life and death, and all the changes that go along with it. Not only, with the agriculture and everything that's going outside, but even within ourselves, the things that we were reaping at the beginning of our season, we're beginning to reap. And, even sometimes, even this time of year, there's some room for regret, unfortunately.
The things that you weren't able to complete, know that
or you didn't have
to start.
for some lame-ass reason why you didn't start something, But anyway, so definitely the necessity and inevitability of life and death. Reflection. Reflection's a big one on that, too. Just looking back at everything that you've done so far this year. Big time for celebration, though.
Yeah, I mean, this is it's a funeral game, but it's still a game.
Well, it's kind of like a mini pagan Thanksgiving. I mean, our real Thanksgiving is more Mabon, but this is the first harvest. So we're talking about, you're still going to see some things coming to the table that really look a lot like Thanksgiving, like
cornucopias.
Yeah, you're even pumpkin and squash. Your
The first
early
things that are coming
vegetables,
in.
your late fruits. Yeah, your apples and peaches and that type of thing. But at the same time, too, we talk a lot about sacrifice right now as well. When we look back and we think about what Spirit and the universe has provided us through these months, it's really a time of that reflection to look back and say, okay, you know what? I've worked really hard, and I've been blessed. I've been so blessed with everything that I can't take all of this, all the credit myself. I've been looked after.
Right.
So we
We're starting
actually
to see all of the benefits that are coming in.
Oh yeah, and so we do sacrifice, and no, we don't kill babies and shit. Where I'm talking sacrifice, and to some fire, to some water, whether it be some nuts and some berries. I'm a big berry girl, for this one, but we'll be talking a lot about sacrifice, more or less gifts, offerings for the things that we've been blessed with.
Right, and I mean, like, that can also be just volunteer work or something to give back as well.
Oh, sure.
Sacrificing your time is a huge, non-threatening, very pagan way of performing a sacrifice.
Yeah, there are so many different forms of different types of service that people in and out of the city can do this,
of course,
for this Sabbath. But we could talk about those too. But I think my biggest thing is, I'm going to keep going back to it. Maybe I just had a long day on the Harley or something like that. I'm a little sun-baked, but it's gratitude. It's a big one for gratitude. for everything that we have. But okay, I'm going to get off of that because, okay. All right, let us talk about some pretty things that maybe somebody out there would like to set up a little Lughnasadh altar.
Sure.
All right. What color would you suggest maybe for an altar cloth? Or...
Oh, huge into the yellows and the bronzes and the anything that reminds you of green.
Okay. Yeah, I'm a big Lou girl, so yellows, even red.
Yep.
I would do orange.
Or
Colors that
berry
represent
colors.
the sun or the oncoming autumn. So, you know, I tend to stay away from the pastel-y, flowery colors. I go more into the colors that you're going to start seeing on the leaves soon. So
it's probably one of my favorite altar color associations. Very fall.
Your
pretty.
browns, golds, greens, that kind of thing.
Even like the purples and the mauves.
Oh,
and
sure.
like those deeper.
But
it's definitely
bloodier
those
looking colors.
They're very pretty. That's why I like to use the accents of gold.
Okay.
So just it's especially with the purples and the reds and even yellow, that looks very nice with gold accents and rather than silver. So this is not a silver, not as common.
No, it really isn't. And if you think about it, it really is common sense. I mean, Lu being the sun god, we're talking about the sun and the harvest right now.
Right.
And the sun, the moon is more silver, the sun is gold.
Right.
So think about those gold tones and stuff.
Once you start knowing the history behind it comes almost second nature once you start to know the associations. And that's why
Right.
we go into all this huge details. Like, all right, you know the symbolism. You know the sun is a huge thing. You automatic. And
Does this sound familiar?
And it doesn't
Right.
necessarily have to be what we tell you. If you
Right.
see the sun being associated with
Purple.
purple rather than gold, then
go
do
purple. Go
yeah,
purple. It
but
really
it's what
doesn't matter.
exactly.
How about some stones? What are some stones that you would put on your altar?
I've got citrine and
Okay.
peridot,
Topaz and carnelian,
cat's eye,
onyx,
and obsidian.
I've got quartz.
Yep, I do. Marble
Yep. I'm done.
and lodestone
Lodestone's a nice one.
and carnelian.
Yep, I said carnelian.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Carnelian and citrine probably are the biggest two that represent the sun to me.
Right.
But that's me. Whatever.
Yeah, and then I've also got adventuring. I don't know if did I hear you
Like
say
an
that?
orange aventurine?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like an orange or even a darker green adventurine, if we can get into that, to kind
Okay.
of like the pumpkin-y colors.
Yeah. Pretty colors this time of year. Well, soon to be coming. Okay. Yeah, that's all the stones that I had. You know, I don't know if you have any more suggestions. And just like LeFay said earlier, even if you want to stick amethyst on your altar for whatever, you know, if it holds near and dear to your heart, we're only giving you our suggestions. So,
And it also
you go
depends
with the
on what
flow.
you're trying to do.
Sure.
So it doesn't, if you're not trying to go focus on just the intentions behind the actual, like the holiday, you can also focus on your intention for whatever working you're doing.
Right, yeah, we haven't even really talked about magical workings for it yet, but yep, good point.
And then, how about herbs?
I've got...
Or I'm skipping ahead.
herbs.
You've got
No,
yours
it's
in a
okay.
little order.
No,
I can scroll up and down. You've
I've
got
it. Okay. Blackberry,
I've got acacia flowers,
bilberry,
aloe,
allspice,
cornstalk,
basil,
frankincense,
rosemary, one of my favorites,
heather,
garlic,
hollyhock,
bay.
myrtle,
I've got fennel.
oak leaves,
I'm done.
and sunflower.
Sunflower.
And if you can
there
get
you go.
wheat or some fresh grain.
Yeah, that would be wonderful.
And it's gone.
And it's gone.
And then rose hips are also popular. Because
Okay.
they're just about done, so you've got the rose hips that are left over, so that's about the time that you can start collecting them.
Okay.
So that makes a whole lot of sense.
Seeing that we're so close to the food department, you got any foods on your list?
Okay, outside of bread and everything to do with bread.
Yeah, bread. Yeah, you guys, bread. It's a big bread holiday, okay? So you name it, make some bread. Anyway.
All right.
Apples.
And tomatoes,
Corn.
plums. I know we said it before.
Squash.
Zucchini counts as a squash, but zucchini especially.
Okay. A bunch of grains.
Honey.
Nuts.
onions,
berries,
and grapes,
potatoes.
melons,
Keep going.
peaches,
Yep.
and then beer.
I've got wine, mead, and apple cider.
Yeah, any beer and
hops.
ale and anything that
Hops.
comes out. Yes, we're just like we got the whole Jeopardy.
Yeah.
So yeah, any alcoholic beverages that are distilled from grain or grapes or any apples or anything like that. So it's a good boozy, bready holiday. This is a good,
Praise to
yummy holiday.
Bacchus.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I've got a couple flowers I like to throw Lou's way. You had mentioned sunflower. I like marigold. Mm-hmm. You mentioned poppy earlier.
And hollyhock.
Yeah, rose.
And rose hips.
Aster. And cornflower.
Yes.
Da-da-da.
Actually, cornflower and poppies relate back to John Barleycorn as well.
Oh, yeah?
Those two would be specifically left for him at the grave.
Oh,
So
okay.
those also associate back to him.
Okay. Very
Just
good.
a fun little wraparound.
We did a little lowdown on the color gold. Gold is actually one of the metals for this Sabbat. So is I'm killing things. So is brass.
Yeah, I would assume even copper.
Yep. Oh, that's one of my favorites.
I love. Well, those are my like. I don't love gold. Funny enough, like
Yeah.
if I have a preference, it's silver usually, but
White
brass. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Ooh.
Okay.
But brass and copper are probably my two favorite metals.
Okay. Copper just looks so pretty on the skin. All right. What are some tools and symbols that we would see on our altar?
One
or
of
around-
my favorites is a scythe.
Oh, yeah. Sickles and scythes. And let's go down and cut some fucking herbs and shit. Let's go out and make some corn dollies.
Heck yeah, and husk dollies and everything that you can do with those. So the bowling and the athame, a lot of blades in general, anything that can be used for cutting and slicing.
Right. I got the Rowan cross.
Yeah, and the the wheel, the seasonal wheel.
Oh, the thing I have in the other room. The
Yeah.
okay. Anyway, how about a cornucopia?
Yes, thank you. So it's a big deal about the wheel of time, like the changing of seasons and
Right.
everything. So anything that has to do with a seasonal change,
Okay.
that's a big one. Because I can't think of the word. Censers and cauldrons, anything that you can incorporate some fire with.
Pentacle for earth. Grapes and vines.
The oak leaf again. I mean, like even the wow, I'm starting to really fart out the acorn.
Yeah, acorns. Acorns are a good one too. Sometimes.
Yeah,
Gross, Sandman.
seriously.
Soundman. I am sunbaked today. Lou just baked the fuck out of my brain. All right, what else you got for altar stuff? Can you think of anything, LeFay?
Well, we talked about kind of like the plants that we could use for incense. So using corn and safflower. Rose hips are good to use again, and roses for any of that, and frankincense and sandalwood.
Yep.
Help relate to the spirituality of things.
Yep. If you're a tree fan, if you find any types of branches from apple, hazel, holly, or oak, those are really good trees for this Sabbath too.
Do we want to go into some of the other deities that are associated with this before we go into your big guy?
Let me think.
Or if
How
there's-
about some quick tarot, real quick before tarot keys for Lughnasadh? Do you have any at all?
You know what? I didn't grab those.
Okay, I'll tell you what I've got. For the sun, we've got the strength.
Right.
The strength card. We have the sun. In the suit of pentacles, I have the 7 and 10 of pentacles.
Very nice. I love the 10 of Pentacles.
Yep. In wands, I have the 4 of wands. I have the justice card and the wheel of fortune. Just like you were talking about, the wheel goes round and round.
There we go.
All right. Now, you wanted to get into some deities?
Yeah, I have a lot of those, of course.
Okay.
So we've got Adonis, who was a big one, and he was pretty much split. In one of the stories, he basically is tied between Persephone and Aphrodite. And he ends up having to spend 6 months with Persephone and 6 months with Aphrodite. And so that's where we get the seasons again and the fruitfulness and having to be. There's a lot of Greek seasonal changes on why, half the year sucks.
Okay.
And then we've got Ceres.
Thor.
Yeah, Thor is a big one.
Okay.
Ceres. So cereal, if you ever think about that. So that she was named after the Roman goddess of grain and the harvest of grain and everything. So that's literally where we get cereal.
Nice.
So she's fun.
Hecate.
Yes.
Hecate.
Very.
Because we were talking about from life to death, and we're slowly going into the underworld now. Artemis.
Well, I would see Apollo.
Yep. I've got Apollo.
And then Demeter, who is kind of like the Greek equivalent of Ceres.
I got Loki.
Really?
Yeah.
I could see that.
Loki.
Neper. So is the Egyptian androgynous grain deity.
Oh, androgynous.
Yep.
How about Thoth?
Thoth? Yeah.
Thoth.
He's the grain. I think he's involved with harvest and grain again. I'm
I'm
terrible.
All of these
at
gods and goddesses and these heroes and such, they all revolve around the same concept. The first harvest of wherever you're from.
Right, Pavarti. So that's the Hindu, and she is very focused on the celebrated goddess of harvest as well.
Isis? Did you already talk about Isis?
I didn't. There's a lot of Egyptian harvest deities.
Isis.
Tammuz, so that's the Sumerian god of vegetation and crops.
Okay.
And then he's also focused with the cycle of death and rebirth. I actually talked about him last time, like the Zeitgeist episode.
Zeitgeist. Okay. I will not stray.
And then Pomona, so that's the apple goddess. So she was the one that held all of the special apples that the gods could eat for eternity.
Okay.
And Dagon, or Dagon, so that's the Semitic. Jeez, yeah, I got some really old ones. So yeah, like even just, it goes way back. There's always been a harvest holiday somewhere.
Harvested gods and goddesses. Yeah, they're everywhere.
For you.
What about animals? You got any animals for this particular?
I do. Well, the two real animals that I could find were roosters and calves.
Okay, I got lion.
Okay.
For the strength card again.
And it also fits with August.
Stag.
Okay.
Eagle, which is actually part of one of the tales of Lugh. Dog.
Okay.
And squirrel.
Dog Days of Summer. That actually is funny because that's when, the dog. There's a dog constellation that comes out of the sky during this time, and so that's where like the idea of Dog Days of Summer comes from. Okay. Sirius, I think.
All right.
Sorry,
That's okay.
It makes sense.
I really, really like squirrel for this time of year too, because the squirrel is the gatherer. So
It's
we
the
are